Before we start, please make sure to like this video and hit this subscribe button so you never miss a story like this. And also comments where you are watching from, how many sons and daughters you have. Thanks. My name is Linda Matthews. I'm from Toledo, Ohio. And I used to believe there was no greater joy than watching your children grow up and build their lives. I thought love, sacrifice, and presence counted for something. I thought my son knew that. But I was wrong. I guess you have everything now, don't you? I slammed the dish down on the table, the sound of ceramic cracking echoing louder than my voice. My son, Adam, didn't even flinch. He sat there, smirking, tapping on his phone, acting like my presence was nothing more than background noise. You've got the house, the wife, the job, the car. Hell, even the dog. So tell me, Adam, what exactly do you need your mother for anymore? He looked up, slow, like I was an inconvenience. Why are you making everything about you, Mom? It's Christmas. Can't we just have dinner without the drama? I shook my head. The rage and the ache in my chest fought to speak at once. Drama? You call me drama? You don't return my calls for 2 weeks, you let your wife plan Christmas without asking if I was even invited, and now I'm drama? He leaned back in the chair, arms crossed. Because every time you're here, you guilt trip everyone. You act like everything we have came at the cost of you suffering. Oh, don't you dare, I snapped, tears pressing against the backs of my eyes. I did suffer. I worked through every birthday, double shifts through snowstorms, skipped meals so you could eat, cleaned other people's toilets for 10 years while you slept warm and fed. And I'm thankful, he interrupted, waving his hands. But I'm not a little boy anymore. You don't get to control everything. You don't get to insert yourself where you're not needed. My voice cracked. Not needed? He shrugged. I didn't mean it like that. You said it, I whispered. And you meant it. I could hear the clinking of glasses in the kitchen, his wife whispering to her sister, trying not to listen but definitely hearing every word. The kids upstairs had gone quiet. Even the dog stopped wagging its tail. I stood there, stunned, like he'd punched me and I hadn't decided yet whether to bleed or fight back. You know what, Adam? This might be the last time I walk into this house uninvited. He blinked, surprised. Mom. No. You made yourself clear. I'm not needed. My presence doesn't matter. So this year, let's test that theory. I grabbed my coat and turned for the door. No one followed. Not even him. I gave him everything. And in return, he gave me silence. Christmas morning, the phone didn't ring. No Merry Christmas, Mom. No, the kids want to open their presents with you. No, sorry for what I said. Just silence. Like I'd never existed. And as I sat alone at the kitchen table. The one where he used to scribble on placemats with crayons, the one where he cried over breakups and bad grades, I felt something shift. Not break. Just move. Like a final curtain falling over a stage that had seen its last show. You see, sometimes it's not the shouting that breaks you. It's the silence. Sometimes, it's not the absence of gifts that hurts. It's the absence of being wanted. So I didn't show up. No pie. No hugs. No laughter. No mom's here, at the front door. And guess what? It hit him harder than I ever imagined. Because when a mother is missing from Christmas, the whole house feels colder. And that is just the beginning. If you've ever felt invisible in your own child's life, if your sacrifices have been forgotten or ignored, you are not alone. This is for every mother who sat in silence, waiting for a phone call that never came. For every parent who was told they were too much, when all they gave was everything. Don't scroll. This story is going to show what happens when love walks away, and who regrets it the most. Keep watching. This gets real. I didn't expect a phone call the next morning. And I definitely didn't expect his voice to sound hollow. Hey, Mom. Just wanted to check in, see how you're doing. I didn't answer right away. I let the silence sit. Let him feel what silence feels like. Look, about last night, he mumbled. It got kinda out of hand. I finally spoke. Calm, quiet, but firm. Did it? Or did it finally get honest? He paused. I could hear something in the background, maybe his wife, maybe the kids. Whatever it was, he turned away from it. I didn't mean to hurt you, he said. I was just tired. Work's been stressful. Sarah's been pressuring me to keep things low-key. We didn't mean to exclude you. I laughed, and not the kind you enjoy. The kind that breaks at the edges. Funny thing about exclusion, I said. It's not always about forgetting. Sometimes, it's a decision. He didn't respond. Maybe he didn't have the words. Or maybe, for once, he understood the weight behind mine. You know what hurt the most, Adam? I continued. It wasn't missing Christmas morning. It wasn't the cold dinner or the silence. It was watching you sit across from me, in the house I helped you build, acting like I was some stranger who overstayed her welcome. I could hear him breathing. Slow. Uneven. That chair you put at the end of the table, I said. I used to dream of sitting there surrounded by your kids, your life, your warmth. But this year, that chair felt like a punishment. Like you were putting me in a corner. Like I was only there out of obligation. Mom, that's not true. Then what is? I snapped. Because you sure didn't act like someone who wanted me there. Silence again. I could picture him sitting on the back porch, phone in hand, trying to figure out how to backpedal 20 years of taking me for granted. You know what I did yesterday, after I left? I asked. No. I made myself a small plate of food. Heated up some frozen pie. Sat down at the kitchen table with a single candle. And I told myself, out loud, this is enough. Because if I'm not enough for my own son, then I better start being enough for myself. His voice cracked just slightly. Mom, I didn't know you felt that way. That's the problem, Adam. You never asked. Sometimes, it's not what people do that hurts. It's what they don't do. The invitations they don't send. The calls they don't return. The effort they don't make. 2 days passed. No word. But on the third day, a knock came to my door. I opened it, and there he was. No wife. No kids. Just my son, standing there in a sweatshirt that still had flour on the sleeve. I made pie, he said, holding up a tin. The way you used to. I didn't move. I didn't smile. You always say it's not about the food, he added quickly. It's about who's sitting across from you. That line hit hard. Because it was my line. Something I'd said years ago after his father left us, when we shared peanut butter sandwiches on Christmas Eve with a plastic tree and no lights. I was a jerk, he said. I let comfort make me selfish. I let Sarah call the shots because I didn't want to argue. And I forgot that Christmas didn't just magically happen every year. You made it happen. You carried it. You carried me. My voice was low. It shouldn't take me disappearing for you to see that. I know, he whispered. There were no grand gestures. No movie-style tears. Just a mother and her son, standing in the doorway, with 3 decades of love and disappointment sitting between them. He finally looked me in the eye. Can we try again? Late Christmas dinner. Just me and you. I didn't nod right away. I needed him to feel the weight. To know that healing doesn't come easy. But finally, I stepped aside. Set the table, I said. You can sit at the head this time. And I'll sit beside you, if you want me there. He blinked quickly, then smiled. More than anything. Next? When the grandkids asked where I was, his answer made me cry. The dining room looked different that night, not because of the decor, but because of the intention. The lights were dimmer, candles flickered in the center, and the table that once felt like a battlefield now looked like a place of peace. Adam cooked. Not takeout. Not his wife's quick pasta. He made the old roast I used to make, mashed potatoes with too much butter, and even oversalted the green beans, just like I used to when I was tired after work. It was like watching him try to reverse the clock. But he wasn't doing it to impress me. He was doing it to remember me. As we sat down, I noticed something taped to the back of my plate. A hand-drawn card, folded unevenly. Crayons. Stick figures. My granddaughter had written, "I missed you on Christmas, Nana. Can we make cookies now?" I blinked. Hard. That little card hit me harder than any insult ever could. "They asked about you, you know," Adam said, his tone lower now, less defensive. "On Christmas morning. Mia thought maybe you got lost. Liam kept checking the driveway to see if your car was coming." My heart twisted. "And what did you tell them?" He exhaled, rubbing his forehead. "I told them you were spending Christmas with someone who needed you more." He paused. "It wasn't true. But I couldn't tell them the real reason. That I pushed you away." I swallowed the lump in my throat. "You didn't just push me away, Adam. You made me feel disposable." He nodded slowly. "I know. And I hate myself for it. You were always there. I never had to wonder where you were. You made every holiday, every birthday, every broken bone feel like I had the world's strongest army behind me. And I took that for granted." There it was. The moment. The reckoning. "I always thought you'd just show up. Like you always did. Because you're Mom. But when you didn't," his voice cracked. "It felt empty. Like the soul of the house was gone." I looked at him then, really looked. The man who once fit inside my arms like a bundle of laundry now sat across from me, broken in a way he'd never admit to anyone else. I didn't need him to beg. I didn't want tears. I just wanted him to know what it felt like to be forgotten, because I lived with that feeling every day since he grew up. "You know what's funny, Adam?" I said, softly. "I used to dream of Christmas mornings when I wouldn't have to do all the cooking and cleaning. But when that day finally came, when no one asked me to come, I realized I never wanted rest. I wanted purpose. I wanted to be needed. Not out of guilt. Out of love." He nodded. "You still are. Needed. Loved." Just then, the kids ran in, barefoot, laughing, wearing the pajamas I had bought but hadn't seen them wear. Mia climbed into my lap without hesitation. "Nana, Daddy said you're staying for Christmas number 2. I smiled. "Is that so?" Liam looked up. "Can we still open the presents you left in the garage?" Adam blinked. "How do they know?" I chuckled through my nose. "Because I told them. I left a note on the cookies." He grinned, the first real smile I'd seen from him in months. "You always plan ahead." I wiped my eyes. "That's what moms do. You see, being a mother isn't about the title. It's about showing up, year after year, even when no one claps, no one thanks you, and no one notices how tired you are. But there's only so long you can pour into people who never pour back." That night, Adam didn't just make dinner. He made space. For me. For memory. For reconciliation. And in that quiet space between the roast and the pie, he leaned over and whispered, "Next year, you plan Christmas. I'll just show up." I laughed. "I thought my presence didn't matter?" He shook his head, ashamed. Turns out, it was the only one that did. I thought the night had already given me every surprise it had to offer. But just as we were clearing the plates and I was wiping down the counter out of old habit, I heard footsteps behind me, hesitant ones. I turned, and there she was. Sarah. My daughter-in-law. Arms crossed. Shoulders stiff. Like she'd been holding something in the entire night. She leaned against the doorway, not saying anything at first. Just watching me. I braced myself. I didn't want you here, she said finally. Flat. Honest. No sugar. No smile. No apology. I stayed still. Let the words hang. She stepped forward. I told Adam to keep things small this year. I told him we needed space. That we didn't want to make things complicated. I thought I was protecting our peace. I met her eyes. And what was I? The chaos? She hesitated. I thought you were, too much. You always have opinions. You're always involved. And it just felt like a lot. There it was. The unspoken truth. I'd always felt it in her tone, in the way she made plans without me, in how my name came last, if at all, in family group texts. I was a guest in a home I once carried on my back. I was too loud, too giving, too motherly. Too there. Funny, I said quietly. All that involvement, all those opinions, they're what raised the man you married. She looked down. And for a moment, I saw the wall crack. He was a wreck after you left, she admitted. He didn't want the kids to see it, but I did. The day after Christmas, he sat in the living room holding your pie dish and just stared at it. Like it was proof he messed up. I turned away. My hands were trembling again. Not from anger, but from something deeper. That ache you get when someone finally sees what you gave up, but only after you stopped giving. I didn't mean to erase you, she said. Yes, I replied. But you didn't mean to include me either. She swallowed hard. I'm not used to strong women. My own mother was absent. Cold. So when you came in with all your energy and stories and traditions, I felt like you were trying to take over. I chuckled bitterly. I wasn't trying to take over. I was trying to hold together. Silence. And then, something shifted. Her eyes softened. Her voice dropped. But you were right. About everything. The tree felt empty without your ornaments. The kids missed your silly songs. And Adam, he missed his mom more than I've ever seen him miss anything. I didn't expect what came next. She stepped forward. Not with pride, but with something closer to humility. I was wrong, she said. And I'm sorry. For making you feel like an outsider in your own family. That did it. My chest cracked. And not from pain, but from that rare, holy thing we barely see anymore, accountability. I appreciate that, I said. But let me be clear, Sarah. I'm not here for show. I'm not a holiday prop you bring out for the kids to take pictures with. I am a mother. A grandmother. A woman who gave her soul to this family. She nodded. We need that. We need you. And for the first time since Adam got married. I believed her. It's easy to judge the woman who came before you. To mistake her strength for control. To confuse her love for interference. But when she walks away, that's when you feel the weight of all the invisible things she carried. Later that night, after the kids were in bed, Sarah came over with a cup of tea. We sat on the couch like two tired women who'd finally found the courage to speak, and the grace to listen. You know, she said gently, you and I may never see the world the same way. I nodded. We don't have to. We just have to see each other. And in that moment, I saw her. Not just as Adam's wife, or my grandkid's mother, but as a woman trying her best with what little she knew. A woman who finally realized she wasn't in competition with me, because we were on the same side all along. 1 year later. 12 quiet months of healing. Of cautious phone calls. Of shared recipes and how-are-yous that finally felt sincere. I didn't force anything. I didn't chase. I let them come to me, slowly, nervously, like children unsure if the bridge they burned could still hold weight. And I rebuilt in silence. I started baking again. Volunteered at church. Even joined a quilting circle I used to laugh at. I found myself again, not just as Adam's mom or Nana, but as Linda. The woman who still had stories to tell and warmth to give, even if no one was around to receive it. Then came the invitation. A real one. Not a pity invite. Not a group text with my name tossed in at the end. A hand-delivered envelope, gold-trimmed. Please join us for Christmas Eve dinner. Your seat is waiting. I stood in my living room holding that envelope like it was made of glass. They wanted me back. Not just in the room, but in the heart of it. When I arrived, the front door was wide open. The house was glowing. Music played softly, not from some playlist, but from the old CD I gave Adam when he was 13. The one with scratched edges and faded Sharpie that said, Mom's Christmas Mix. I stepped inside, half expecting the usual chaos. But this year, it was different. Warm. Intentional. Ready. And then I saw the table. Not just any table, the table. Longer than before. Set for 12. The center decorated with old family photos clipped onto string lights. And right at the head. My name. Not scribbled on a sticky note. Not taped on the side like an afterthought. A real place card. Mom. Not Linda. Not Grandma. Not guest. Just Mom. Adam appeared in the hallway, adjusting his collar, hands slightly trembling. You came, he said softly. I smiled. You asked. Then, with a deep breath, he clinked his glass. The room quieted. Every eye turned toward him, his wife, their friends, our relatives, the kids holding tiny candy canes. And then, he did it. Right there, in front of everyone, he walked around the table, and knelt beside my chair. Like a child again. Like a son. I want to say something, he said. And I want my mom to hear it before anything else happens tonight. The room held its breath. This time last year, he began, I said something I can never take back. I told my mom that her presence didn't matter. That she was making Christmas about herself. That she wasn't needed. His voice cracked, but he pushed through. I didn't realize then, that the reason Christmas ever felt like Christmas, was because of her. The warmth, the laughter, the little traditions, they weren't things. They were her. And the moment she left, everything got cold. A tear slid down his cheek. His wife reached over and squeezed my hand. She taught me how to love this season. And I forgot to love her back. But tonight, I want to make something clear. He turned toward me, full of emotion. Mom, from this year forward, you don't just have a seat at this table. You are the table. Everything we are, comes from you. I tried to speak. I really did. But nothing came out. Just tears. The kind that sting because they're heavy with everything you never thought you'd hear. He stood up and wrapped his arms around me, not like a man hugging his mother out of habit, but like a son clinging to a home he almost lost. I'm sorry, he whispered. And thank you. For never stopping. That night, we laughed. We cried. We opened presents slowly, like time was finally enough. Sarah brought out the cookies I used to make. And the grandkids danced around the living room singing my old songs. Not because someone made them. But because love, real love, had returned. You see, sometimes it takes walking away. For people to realize who's been holding the house together all along. Sometimes your absence echoes louder than your words. And when that silence finally breaks, if they're wise, they'll never let you go unheard again. This story isn't just about a forgotten Christmas. It's about every mother, every father, every person who gave love that went unnoticed, until it didn't. To anyone listening, if someone in your life has shown up for you over and over, say something. Before they don't. Before it's too late. Because the greatest gift you'll ever open is someone's presence, before it becomes their absence.